Hi folks, welcome to my refight of the Battle of Evora. The battle itself occurred because of General Leeson was tasked with clearing the town of Allied troops. To represent the Allied troops, I have basically built up a force of Portuguese and Spanish infantry. So let's have a look closer at the what I've nicknamed Spanish Ridge. On the Spanish Ridge we have some Spanish artillery and some Spanish infantry, and behind those we have some Spanish dragoons as well. I think they were known as the Maria Louise battalion. On the Portuguese side of the road, or the Allies' right, we have some Portuguese artillery and some Portuguese regular line infantry, some volunteer Portuguese cavalry, which are the Lisbon police, and we also have some Portuguese militia. Either side of the militia is the second position which the Allies must hold to achieve a victory in the battle. On the other side of the road and marching up towards Evora, we have General Leeson with his forces. At the moment all he has is the battalion of the 58th French Infantry, the Hanoverian Legion 1st Battalion, and the 4th French Dragoons as well. He has a further 6 battalions of infantry and 1 more dragoons and an artillery battery, but they're some way off up the road and will be diced to appear as the battle goes on. Basically behind the Allies' position is the road to Evora. If they lose this second position, it's game over and the city falls to the French. That's about it for the beginning of the setup of the game, and I'll get back to you after a bit of movement. Hi folks, welcome back. This is the movement halfway through game turn 2. The French infantry are making their way up towards the Spanish-held ridge, and the dragoons are moving on a flanking manoeuvre around the outside of the Portuguese. The card you can see behind the back of the Portuguese artillery is their activation card. It's basically pulled out of the pack, and that battalion is activated for that part of the phase of the game. The general view over the whole of the battlefield so far, as you can see, the French are making some movement progress. They've taken the odd hit from the artillery, but not a lot. I'll be back again in a little while. Our folks returned. This is the end of the situation of game turn 3. As you can see, the Portuguese are still there. The Portuguese police, or Lisbon police, are moving through the infantry as the Allied general has got them to move forwards to take on the Portuguese, the dragoons, as they're moving around on the flank. We have the French infantry and the Hanoverians moving up as well, and basically the end of this turn, or beginning of next really, we have some more French infantry appearing. We have a battalion of French light infantry and 2 battalions of combined grenadier infantry as well. Tough guys. And that's about it, guys, at the start of the end of turn 3. Hi folks, welcome back. This is turn 4. As you can see, things are starting to hot up on the battlefield. We are about to have a cavalry clash, I think, with the Lisbon police and the 4th Dragoons. More French infantry are appearing over the ridge. General Leeson's moving forward, telling them instructions what to do. The rest of the French infantry and the Hanoverians are moving forward onto the Spanish ridge. Important dice roll about to happen though is whether or not the Spanish hussars are going to advance around the flank and attack the Hanoverian infantry, or whether they're going to, like they did in history, turn around and go home. I'm going to roll the dice, 1 or 2, and they follow history. Anything else, and they go forward. A6. So, excellent stuff. Hussars are going to advance on the flank of the Hanoverians. Back soon with the results. Hi folks, and welcome back. This is the end of turn 5. You can see there's been a heavy cavalry melee in the bottom there between the Lisbon Police and the 4th Dragoons. In the case of the dice behind the figures, these are skirmish troops because they're based individually, and because of that they have their individual counts of damage. And if you come over here where some of the battalions have been taking damage from muskets and artillery fire, for a unit that is actually a morale damage rather than individual damage to any figures, which means that as you can see over here, the Spanish artillery took a full volley from the French 58th and have taken 2 morale damage. Not good for them. They're going to have to test their morale at the beginning of turn 6. And over here I'm going to have to do some morale testing for the individuals as well, because they're virtually their last wound, having 2 wounds. Individual figures, whether they're horse or infantry, have 3 wounds at maximum. There you have it, guys. General view of the battle so far. As you can see, more French troops are appearing, more dragoons, and the rest of the French infantry are making slow progress up the road. And that's about it so far, folks. I think we're going to leave it there, and I'll come back to you in part 2. Hope you've all enjoyed. Bye for now.